time ever at a Fort Worth Cats game, lo and behold, there were people standing all in the outfield, spectators lined against the wall. And it took me but an instant to see that they all had one thing in common. They weren't white. And they were there to see Jackie Robinson, the first black athlete to play in a professional game west of the Mississippi in the South. And it changed my life. And things have changed your lives. Things have gotten better for the things that we consider important. I grew up thinking as a child that saturation bombing of Japanese and Germans wasn't just a good idea, it was a great idea. I heard Howard Zinn, one of the great progressives, say how he didn't flinch to push the bombardier's trigger to drop the bombs all over German cities in saturation bombing raids. Attitudes change. Japanese were put into internment camps. It wasn't because they came from Japan. It's just because they were Japanese. And it took years for people's attitudes to change and recognize that's not right. And we still know that's wrong. You here know that's wrong. It took until I graduated from high school before the Supreme Court of the United States struck down Plessy versus Ferguson. We knew that was wrong. We here know that's wrong. The first case I was involved in with the ACLU was in 1963 in Georgia. I taught there. I was a professor at the University of Georgia. I sued the university. The ACLU was my attorney. I was not an attorney. They required me to take a loyalty oath that said, I swear to uphold the high ideals of American patriotism and not teach any doctrine of economic or social relations foreign to the high ideals of American patriotism. Do you know what that really meant? You know what that meant. Don't you dare talk about integration. Don't you dare say anything that would let us think you're a communist. And that law was declared unconstitutional. Thought control. Loyalty oaths used to be required all the time. The McCarthy era was rampant with them. We now know that's wrong. We in this room don't support those things. We've changed our attitudes. Think back. Just wait a minute. There's a lot of you are there any students from SMU here? 2, 3. You know, that's disturbing. But, because all the stuff that when I bet many of you got into it, you were like me. It was all student activity. We were students. Well, our attitudes changed. I was going to say, how many of you can think back? I challenge you. Did you think about, when did you first think about maybe people who are gays or lesbians or transgender or bisexual, that they might have, but maybe they ought to be treated right? That maybe the Constitution had something to say about that. I'm telling you, that's pretty recent in your consciousness. It never crossed my mind when I was here that gay people might have rights. It just was off the map. It just wasn't thought of. We learn. We change. We aspire in this type of organization, Amnesty International. Think of that. What if Amnesty International had been going around in the 60s talking about how badly people were treated? It would have been off the radar for at least in the South, I'll tell you that. We change. We learn something. Now, you're going to give me 4 more minutes, and so I'll wind it up and save you some time. You know, how we approach these great issues of the people who are here as immigrants or who are here undocumented or here illegally is a tremendously difficult issue. I don't want to gloss over it. I've already told you I think they're within a hair of the states being able to do horrible things. In 1973, I argued a case that I took after I was out of law school in the Supreme Court of the United States. It was called In Re Griffiths. And in that case, I represented a Dutch woman who wanted to be a United States attorney and practice law in Connecticut. But she did not want to be a United States citizen. 48 states required that you be a United States citizen in order to obtain a professional license to be an attorney. When I argued that case in the Connecticut Supreme Court, who passed the rule that you had to be a citizen, I started by saying, I'm here today to tell you that rule number 1, that you have to be a citizen, that you passed, is arbitrary, capricious, unreasonable, and violates the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. And the betting in the hall is I'm not a heavy favorite to win. Not a smile. And I lost. But in the Supreme Court of the United States, we prevailed. And I remember thinking for years after that, it doesn't make any difference where you're from. The 14th Amendment applies to people. That is not how it's turned out. But I will say this. Just open up your yellow pages. Go to physicians and run your finger down that and just see the effect of that case. How many physicians' names you recognize are non-Anglo names. Go to the hospital and try to be treated by only white people. That'd be a suicide hospital. These are complicated issues. We try on the litigation front, but more importantly, we must try in the arena of public education to help other people change their attitudes to respect human beings as human beings. I want to disagree with at least some of what my fellow panelists have said. If you approach this problem as one of white people causing all the problems, and white attitudes causing all the problems, we won't be dealing with all of the causes, and probably not even with the main causes. The cases that were recited to you recently, I want you to remember that the attorney generals were Alberto Gonzales and Eric Holder, and that the wars we're fighting and have been fighting maliciously and evilly since 9/11 are being prosecuted to this day with billions of our dollars by a black president. And it is unforgivable. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you very much, Mr. David Burles. Before we go any further, I'll make a little change to the schedule because we're running about 20 minutes late, but I promise you I won't keep you here any longer than necessary. How about until the war is over? I'm sure it will be over now if it was conditional. But if you have questions, please pass them to the right. We made a little adjustment to the schedule. So I'm going to say that next I want to call on two brothers that I have come to know for a very long time. Not only that they volunteer the time to fight, to speak for the voiceless, work hard for the Dallas Peace Center without pay, but even sometimes when I look at them, I think I just see the Dallas Peace Center. Before I welcome Mr. Chief Peter, I'd like to introduce the Dallas Peace Center newest board member, Eric Reese. Where are you? Give him a round of applause, please. And one of the most valuable brother, volunteer, a friend, and a fellow American with a conscience, Mr. Hadi Jawad, who will briefly... They will briefly tell us how they do what they do and how we can keep the Dallas Peace Center for sustainability, because we count on all of you.
Thank you, Brother Tunde. The Dallas Peace Center is a rather unique organization in North Texas. I've been involved with activities for quite some time now. My sense of the organization is that it's a voice for the voiceless. It has always done that. When nobody else will take up an issue, the Dallas Peace Center has always come to the forefront, to the table. Please, if you are not a member, consider becoming a member of the Dallas Peace Center. It's a very small ask that we are doing today, just a membership. Become involved at that level to send a subscription for, it lasts for about a year, and the brother will tell you about that more. Please consider doing that and support this work, because the issues, if you're at the Peace Center, like some of us have been for a long time, and there's many folks over here that have been involved with the Peace Center. If you're at the Peace Center, you won't believe the deluge of people asking for help on one issue or another that comes to that organization. It's an absolutely miraculous place. It's a place that runs on heart of the people who are part of this organization. We have had some amazing people who have gone before us. Some of our brothers and sisters who helped us at the Peace Center have crossed the threshold. This is a valuable North Texas organization. The works of so many people has contributed to its work and success since 1982. So please consider becoming a member, and the board member will tell you some more information.
Thank you, Hadi. Thank you. I realized early on in the beginning of this afternoon that I have a very hard job in this room, because Tunde asked me to keep the time on all our wonderful speakers, and that's a very difficult thing to do, because I'm like keeping notes and like, oh wow, did you just hear what they said, and I forget about keeping the time. So if it's my fault that we go over, so you're welcome to blame me, but you have to admit what you've heard so far and what you're going to hear later on this afternoon has been tremendous, and I really wish you would give our speakers so far another round of applause for I want to invite you to do something for me. I want you to think about your vision of community, your vision of society. Just give it 30 seconds and think about what that looks like for you. And I want you to begin shouting out just words that describe that vision or statement quickly.
Common interest.
Say again?
Common interest.
Common interest. What else?
Involvement.
Involvement. What else? Say again?
Justice.
Justice, yes. Now, y'all are